Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, and I would say along with my host, Randall Hargrove, but I don't see Randall yet, so hopefully he is on his way and just been slightly delayed. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving week. Uh, hope y'all are turkeyed out and ready to start eating regular food again. You know, the question always is how long after Thanksgiving do you have to keep that damn turkey? And I say one day. After that, throw that some bitch away. And there he is right there. How's it going, Rand?
You might want to ask me another question, brother.
I mean, okay, hold on. Life in general, other than the Steelers and the Carolina Tar Heels, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I know better. I should have preempted it that way. Yeah. So I was just saying, hopefully everybody's over their turkey, and by now you've thrown the remnants away. You can go back to eating regular food, and nobody's going to judge you at all for doing that. So, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great, man. I didn't even, I never even get a full turkey anymore. I just do like the legs and the wings, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a little thing where I pressure cook those, my own little recipe. So those always turn out great. And then there's not a whole lot left over. And if there is some left over, then hey, still good eating, a lot better eating than that dry breast and the rest of the stuff that you don't want to.
Yeah. Jermaine fried one, and it was only because he had gotten one for free. So because we were going to do the same thing, we were just going to buy a bunch of wings and stuff instead of doing the entire turkey because I just hate wasting a turkey because I already know that, man, even if I end up taking a bunch home or if I fix it at home and we debone that thing and all of that kind of stuff, most of it gonna end up in the trash because after a while you just gonna get tired of tasting turkey. And I
Yeah,
and I know and I know the reason is because we only eat turkey normally once a year. In that form anyway, maybe like turkey slices from a deli or something that's different. You put on sandwich. But eating a turkey that way normally is only once a year. And trying to then eat it 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row is just it's almost torture. It's almost like you telling yourself, man, I thought I paid all this money for this turkey. Somebody gonna eat this damn thing. And you try to justify eating that damn thing.
yeah. Sometimes it's like chewing on a bag, yo, or just trying to
It
eat a
it,
box. It's
it
just
is. It just gets so it's almost like you're punishing yourself. I'm like, you know what? Don't do that. I know 1 year me and my wife we did Cornish hens instead because they were a lot
yeah,
softer.
because those last longer. They're more tender.
Yep.
The
You
hens are
get
really
more
good.
flavor in them. Yep.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. So thankfully everybody's over that. Now we're into the holiday season. So all you Mariah Carey fans, I'm sure you've been playing the "All I Want for Christmas" song now, and she's totally thawed out. All the commercials are on TV. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll start thinking about that. But I bring all that up because this is a giving season. This is the season. So we got a lot of teams that are hoping that Santa's gonna, deliver them some playoff wins instead of some charcoal in their stockings. So we have gone through 13 weeks of the NFL, and can you believe it? After tonight, we will be down to 5 weeks left.
Good.
Absolutely insane.
Good, because I'm
Yeah,
I'm tortured right now.
I
So
know. I know you're ready. We're gonna talk
I'm
about
ready. I'm ready to get to the draft, get this crap over with. It's
Well,
just
well, yeah, there's some things y'all gonna have to do before the draft, before you figure out the draft, figure out your quarterback and your coach, and all the other stuff that you're gonna need. And because I now they were even yesterday screaming onto the field, fire Tomlin. So
Mhm.
it's getting crazy, and he didn't even shy away from it. He was like, yeah, it deserved that. And hey, that's fine. You can say that, but you ain't gonna self fire yourself. So you can, you can empathize with the fans all you want to, but you ain't gonna sit there and say, Well, maybe you will. Maybe you will say, "I'm done." But
Oh God, I wish you would.
Because that's probably just things get stagnant, things get old. It doesn't always mean that um, you're not a good coach or this and that, but a lot, after a while when a voice has been around, when I think about coaches that have been in one place for so long, I think about like Greg Popovich, all those years in San Antonio. And it's like, man, how do the players still keep hearing that same stuff year after year after year? And it doesn't get old when you think about how Duncan and Parker and Ginobili and all those guys stuck around and heard that stuff year after year to continue to be inspired after hearing that from that same voice that just doesn't change. Um, Change is good, and I know a lot of times people don't want to change for the sake of changing, but at a certain point, change is always, well, not always, but change can a lot of times be that uh, spark that you need. You see it a lot of times when people go from one quarterback to another. A new quarterback comes in and instantly gives that spark because there was a change. Or coach gets fired in the middle of the season. The interim coach steps up and they go all out for that coach. Um, so we've seen where change has a positive impact on teams. And a lot of teams that are in the bottom half out of playoff contention, whether they've been mathematically eliminated or not, are going to have to start thinking now about changes. Do I let the coach finish the season? Do we go ahead and let them go so that um, other candidates that may be on losing teams go ahead and we can start the interview process and things like that? All of those things are going to start to come into play for a lot of teams that this season, whether was forecasted to be a disappointment or just ended up being a disappointment, are going to have a whole lot of things to think about. When you look at the AFC, brand, I mean, still, first I'm gonna say this, and before I go to the AFC playoff picture, you gave up 5 games over the last 5 days for us to predict. Had not the Commanders not converted on a 2-point conversion last night, I would have been god dang 0 for 5.
It's crazy. The league is
Man,
insane.
and I mean, I mean, I wasn't going out on no limb. I wasn't sitting there trying to go against the grain. I was just going chalk. I went chalk and went 1-4, almost 0 and 5 because I
Yeah,
went chalk.
yeah.
You know,
It
it wasn't
is
it wasn't a
impossible.
Rams Carolina game, and I went for Carolina. These were just normal games where it's like, okay, yeah, they should win. Yeah, they should. You man, this season is just crazy,
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
it's unexplainable, man. It is unexplainable. You'll probably see a repeat of it again tonight. The Patriots are heavy favorites. A lot of people, don't have the Giants standing a chance. Just getting Jackson back out of
Right.
concussion protocol. Not giving the Giants a chance at all. But
They definitely got a chance. You know,
we'll see once they
now
take the
now
field.
now I think, and I was telling my friends in New York this. So the Giants remind me of the Lions a couple of years ago, right before the Lions turned that corner into winning. It had to be the first year or two that Dan Quinn was there, and you kept seeing them start to become competitive, but they would find a way to shoot themselves in the foot and still lose. And then that light finally came on, and they started winning games. What the Giants are showing me is how competitive they can be, but they just can't finish in the end. They'll find a way to choke. The ball will bounce the wrong way. They don't take advantage of opportunities. It reminds me of, and I'll tell you what, Carolina Panthers, and I'll stick back to the Giants and the Patriots, but same thing like with Carolina Panthers. The game they won yesterday, 2 years ago, they would have figured out how to lose that. Um, you see teams like that where the ball bounces this way, that way, and how do you take advantage of it or not take advantage of it, put yourself in a position to win and things like that. Um, I mean, again, with the Panthers, the reason they won that game was yes, turnovers, but it was also going for it on fourth down And hell, a lot of them fourth downs ended up being damn touchdowns. Stuff like that. That hey, the Giants are not going to necessarily do that this year, and that's okay. If they're being competitive, yet they still end up with a high draft pick. Mustang 91 just subscribed to you. Oh, very nice. I appreciate that. How are you doing today? Doing good. Driving from Birmingham, UK for the Army. Okay, very nice. Well, welcome. Um, but yeah, hell, now I forgot what to say. Well, no, if they can sit there and be competitive, but still end up with a good draft pick, then they can keep adding more pieces around Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboot, Tyron Tracy, Wandale. And then they get Malik Neighbors back next year. They're going to be formidable in that NFC South. The way the Eagles are playing and the way the Giants are playing, you could see a changing of the guard or shuffling of that order. You just can't pencil in Philly Cowboys at the top and then Washington and New York trying to sort third and fourth place out. That might not be the case this time next year. May not be. So it could happen. It could definitely happen. So, but Rand, if the playoffs, I'm gonna do this every week now because we got 5 weeks left. If the playoffs ended today, the number one overall seed in the AFC are the Denver Broncos at 10-2. Now they got 5 games left. Is there any way they're gonna win 13?
Heck yeah, they can.
Can they go 13-4, or can they run the table and go 15-2?
Defense travels, man. Defense travels.
Yeah, because they
They got a
offense
hell of a
don't.
defense.
They offense don't. They offense, well, they're up and down. Bo Nix has been a little bit of a roller coaster this year. He gives some really good plays where you'll just go, "Wow, this man, that's an incredible throw," and then he'll throw some head scratches at you, and you just hope that the wows outweigh the head scratches.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times they've won more games this year by single digits or at the end of a game, where again, how I said earlier about the ball bouncing a certain way. If the ball didn't bounce their way a lot of those times, they would end up some of those being L's. They potentially they're 10-2, but I mean it's easily a lot of those games they could end up being 6-6 if the ball bounces different ways. Um, so, but to their credit, they're not. You are what your record is, but they're 10-2. They're tied with the Patriots. Um, they win the tiebreaker based on win percentage in common games. So that's what gives them the overall right now. But right now, they're both 10-2. So the Patriots are currently winning their division. They have a game tonight, of course, against the Giants. Number 3 seed is going to be Jacksonville. They're at 8-4, and right now they would win their tiebreaker over Indianapolis, who also has an 8-4 record, but is currently occupying one of the wild card spots. Um, the Ravens are currently leading in the AFC North at 6-6. Even though the Steelers, and this is some funny stuff, but they're at 6-6 as well as the Steelers. But right now they have a tiebreaker based on win percentage in common games as well. But I believe they still have one more game to play against each other, right?
Too.
Two. So those 2 games can become paramount because if the Steelers can win those games, then now you're talking about a situation where there's going to be another flip flop. So just like that, the top 4 teams are not, well, the 3 and 4 seeds are not solidified because they can really be knocked off their spot. I think it'd be hard to see 1 and 2 kind of get knocked off their spot, even though I could see 1 and 2 flip each other. But to be like completely knocked off their spot, that would be hard to see. Number 5 is going to be the Rams. The Rams, uh, won yesterday. Didn't look good doing it. Justin Herbert got hurt, had a big old cast on his hand. Um, but they're at 8-4. So you've got three teams at 8-4. You've got the Chargers, the Colts, and the Buffalo Bills. But right now, the Buffalo Bills are occupying the number 7 seed. How crazy is that to say? Um,
Yeah.
and then you got teams, and then you notice the teams that I didn't mention uh, that are out of it right now, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs, all the way down at number 10. The Steelers and the Texans are both in front of the Kansas City Chiefs as far as playoff contention, which is absolutely crazy. So that's what you got going on in the AFC. So a lot of this rain is going to go down to the wire. Like I said, we ain't got but 5 weeks left, and a lot of this is still going down to the wire. On the NFC side, I ain't no way in the world I thought I would ever say this in my lifetime again. The number one seed in the NFC are the 9-3
Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
You talking
The
about
hell?
offense going crazy ways. I mean, that's a team that could have a losing record if it wasn't for a few plays here, a few plays there.
Same,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But they're sitting at 9-3. They have the number one seed over the Rams, who are also 9-3. We'll talk about them too because they went to bed yesterday. But they have a tiebreaker over percentage of conference games. So that's why they're occupying the number one seed. Like I said, number two is going to be the Rams. Number three at 8-4, the Philadelphia Eagles, who 3 weeks ago I said would probably outright win their division, but the Cowboys are only 2 games back now. That's a lot to overcome. The Eagles would have to keep winning, or at least win uh, 3 of the next 5 games to really, really make it hard for the Cowboys to win. Because if the Eagles get up to 11 wins, the Cowboys would basically have to win out. Um, Actually, they couldn't even do that. Yeah, they couldn't win. Even if they went out, they wouldn't win enough because they've already played 11, 12 games. They've already played 12 games. So, yeah, the only way they could get to 11 is they'd have to win the last 5. And that's not going to happen. There ain't no way in the world they're going to go 5-0. I don't see that. So the magic number for the Eagles to keep the division is they got to win 3 of 5. And that's not necessarily going to be an easy thing either, the way they've been playing. The number 4 team right now ran for the NFC South is currently the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they are only statistically in that position. The Carolina Panthers are have a 53-8 winning percentage. The Buccaneers have a 5.83 winning percentage. So literally half of a half percent away from occupying that. They both have 7 wins. The Panthers have one more loss. I'm understanding that the Panthers have a bye this week. So if the Bucks lose their game, they end up in a tie. Um, and then we would have to see how that would go. But what's going to really happen in NFC South is same thing like with your Steelers and the Ravens. The Panthers have 2 games against the Bucks. That could really make it interesting.
Oh, it's definitely gonna make it interesting. Those two divisions, the NFC South and the AFC North, are gonna come down to those two top contenders. Battle it out with 2 games over the final 5 weeks. It's gonna be
hmm
good, man.
hmm Absolutely. So this is going to be an opportunity though to see what Bryce Young can do when the games still matter. Um, so it's promising. I'm still a little worried because I still saw some stuff, even though they won yesterday. Still worried about some things that they're doing, some things that make me scratch my head, like clock management at the end of the first half yesterday just didn't make no sense at all. But
Terrible.
yeah, you saw it. We get into that. That was just absolutely. You can't do that. You can't. You do that mess in the playoffs, you going home. Um, but right behind the Buccaneers ran, you got the Seattle Seahawks with a wild card spot. the Green Bay Packers, as well as the 49ers. Um, 49ers, just amazing. But who I didn't mention, the Detroit Lions are on the outside looking in, ran at number 8.
And
Of
that's
course, that's crazy.
surprising.
Yeah, you got the Cowboys at 9, the Panthers at 10, the Falcons at 11, and then you got the Vikings, Cardinals, Commanders, Saints, and Giants rounding out the bottom. So, like I said, still going to be a lot of good football to be played, man. But absolutely going to be some really, really good games over the next 5 weeks. Let's talk about some games that weren't really good yesterday, and we'll start with just Steelers that played the Bills. This was an interesting game in the fact that I was surprised that they let Aaron Rodgers start. I thought that they had done well with Mason Rudolph the game before. Um, and I ran. Maybe you can tell me: is it more that they put him in because he felt like he was ready to go, and they felt like even with that hand issue on his non-throwing hand, that he would be a better option than a quarterback with two healthy hands?
Man, I mean, I ain't in the locker room, of course, but you asked my opinion. Yeah, Aaron told him, I'm ready to go. I want my spot. I want to start. That's just what it seems like to me because I told you guys weeks ago. I mean, a healthy Mason Rudolph is about as good as a 41-year-old quarterback with a hurt left hand right now.
Yes.
He's about the same difference, man. So,
Rand, he limits his game because he could not take snaps under center. So everything was in the pistol.
yeah. Everything was in the pistol, and then I'm just seeing a lot of the same old stuff that I never saw him really do before, like indecision, too much time before getting rid of the ball, and that's how he got hurt that final play when Bosa jacked him up and made his nose bleed. He's
Mm-hmm.
trying to dance around and look for somebody to get open. Dude, you only have 3 seconds tops in that pocket. I mean, you are not the quarterback that's going to be evading defenders anymore.
But you know what? When he did that, I said, "Oh my God, he trying to turn back the clock." Because I remember
Yeah,
he used to do that in Green Bay, where he would
he
do all of
used
that
to.
running around and evasion and all that kind of stuff. Man, that is old. You can't do that no more.
Nope, he got completely jacked up, man. I know that junk hurt
He
because
got good.
it hurt his wrist and his nose. Because if you look at the replay, he landed his pretty much his nose hit that cast of his.
Hmm.
So I know that hurt.
Yeah,
But
that's why I got cut. Well,
yeah,
but see that was my concern all along. That okay, yeah, you got a cast on it and everything, but you know that if you get knocked to the ground, naturally you're gonna try to brace your fall. Well, you ain't gonna brace your fall with your throwing hand, I hope, because then you can mess up your throwing hand. But you can't brace your fall with the other hand because it's wrapped up. So how you gonna brace your fall?
yeah.
That,
And I'm
that,
looking
that,
at
that
this.
makes no sense to me.
I'm looking at the ESPN ticker right now, and he stated that he is going to start Week 14 versus the Ravens. Um, Being a Pittsburgh fan right now is just hella frustrating because you're literally watching your team fall apart and your quarterback right before your eyes.
Hmm.
We are in a spot where it is do or die. Um, Literally, Tomlin is on a seat that's hotter than he has ever had it in his whole career. You got the whole Pittsburgh fan base pretty much calling for his head. Booed at halftime.
Yep.
Straight up Tomlin, fire Tomlin chants at the end of the game.
Mm.
I've never heard
That,
stuff
that,
like that in
that
Pittsburgh.
you could hear it on the broadcast.
Oh yeah, very
It,
audible.
it was that loud. It was coming. It was getting picked up on the mics.
Yes. Buffalo fans just it was that stadium about the fourth quarter before the game was over. I'd say maybe midway through the fourth
Hmm.
was all Buffalo fans. All Buffalo fans. This is what it's become in Pittsburgh. The standard ain't the standard no more, dude. The standard ain't the standard no more.
Hey, I'm, I'm,
And
I'm, I'm, I'm gonna tell you a standard that ain't the standard. Pittsburgh ran for 58 yards.
It's not Pittsburgh ball.
The Bills ran for 249.
None of that is Pittsburgh ball.
That's
And once again, I know Pittsburgh, I mean, Buffalo got 26 points, yes. But that's 4 points away from 30. Had they got another 4 points, that's another 30 points given up by the defense. None of this is the standard. None
here,
of it.
here's another stat that's not standard. When you talk about a team that historically is a run first ball control team, Pittsburgh had the ball. I can't even believe this one. 18 minutes
It's
out
insane.
out of 60. The Bills had it for 42 minutes.
All you're gonna do is wear your defense out like that,
That's
and that's
insane.
what is gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Our offense is absolutely unwatchable football. It is atrocious right now.
It's pretty bad.
Um,
That's bad.
so I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion, they got to get rid of Tomlin. This has gone on for far too long, and all these Tomlin fans out there that want to keep him around because of his ability to get just over 500.
Which might
That
not
is
happen.
not what Pittsburgh.
That might
Yeah,
and that
never
might and
happened
that
this
might
year.
not happen this year. The
Yeah,
streak might be over.
streak might be over. But just all of these fans that want to keep him around just for those reasons. Oh, so we can finish with a winning record and come back and redo the same crap next year with the top 20 pick. It's just not making any sense anymore, man. The game has changed so much since Tomlin first entered the league. I mean, we're talking about a coach that came into the league in 2006. Back in 2006, the NFL was still using fullbacks.
Yes.
Uh, the NFL was still basically a two wide receiver setup.
Mhm.
Three wide receivers was looked at as something as like, innovative. Three wide receivers now is just the norm.
Yeah.
Um, Defensively, we're still in the 3-4. Don't want to do anything besides this 3-4. And there's so many blitz packages and other defensive schemes that other coordinators are using right now
Mhm.
that Pittsburgh it's just still in that same 3-4 base defense, and it's just not working, man. None of it is working anymore. They're gonna have to get rid of Tomlin. They're gonna have to get rid of the defensive coordinator. That offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, has got to be up out of here. It's time for a teardown, a full-scale teardown. And that's what I hope happens. But the Roonies are so loyal to this dude, man. And then he's so loyal to his coordinators that we might roll right back next year with the same people in place. And that is just going to be another wasted year. Another wasted year.
Let me ask you this too, though. Well, not always, but is this also reflective on the general manager?
Oh, yeah. It's the general manager's fault for sure. And I used to take the stance on no, it's all Tomlin. It's not the general manager, but it is the general manager for this particular season. He took Caleb Johnson as a running back with the number 2 pick in the draft. If I'm not mistaken, a quarterback named Shedeur Sanders was still on the board with their number 2 pick. This number 2 running back has not even amassed 100 yards all season long.
Because
This is your number 2 pick.
because what if in the 11th hour, when Aaron Rodgers decided he was coming, had he said, "You know what? I sat in the dark room, and then and the dark room looked back at me and told me pass." That would have screwed that team royally to put all the eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket, a 41-year-old quarterback that will be 42 tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Like you had no contingency plan other than to say, well, if he doesn't come, then we'll just use Rudolph. And okay, but you had no contingency plan. You knew you were losing George Pickens. You knew you were bringing in DK Metcalf, but you did not address a number 2.
No, and that is another mistake. They did not They did not select the proper running back. There were so many other running backs that I had on my list, and when they finally chose this Caleb Johnson dude out of Iowa, I was like, wait, what? Who? I had to go do some research on him.
I mean,
And even when I did my research on him, I was like, this dude, I just don't know about him. He doesn't run hard. He seems light in the ass. And all of those things are coming to fruition. I mean, he's been a total waste for this year. Um, got demoted from kickoff duties because of the second game in the league. He missed a kickoff, and instead of running back into the end zone to get it, he's just walking off the field like it's going to be a dead ball.
hmm,
What the hell are you doing?
hmm,
So
hmm, hmm,
that's a general manager mistake, though.
hmm,
It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's the general management's fault for not getting a second wide receiver in here, and you had months and months
right.
upon months to do so.
That's right.
That's a general management error. So I can't put it all on Tomlin. The GM's got something to do with it as well.
So would you if Tomlin's getting swept out the door along with his coaching staff on the offense and defensive side, would you just make a wholesale thing and say, hey, let's bring in a new GM that's going to bring in a coach that will work together to rebuild this roster? And are Steelers fans going to have an appetite for knowing that a lot of this is going to have to be torn down to the studs because uh, uh, Fitzpatrick is already gone. Watt is, yes, he's on the tear, but he's on the tail end of his career. Um, uh, what's his name still out there too? But he's on the tail end of his career too. So how much more do they have? Uh, and I mean, you're gonna really have to start bringing in young guys to start, doing a lot of this stuff. And will the Steelers fan have an appetite for potentially being uncompetitive for the foreseeable future?
They have not had to sit through a multi-year rebuild. And I'm trying to think back.
Hmm.
It has been since the late 90s. I think they missed the playoffs 3 consecutive years. Right around 98, 99, 2000, they missed the playoffs for 3 straight years while they were doing the rebuild.
So
That
you
is
talk
the last team I
You,
remember.
you talking about people that are 30 years and younger that have
Yeah,
not seen that.
they have not experienced a multi-year rebuild. No, even when Cowher left out, it was pretty much a 1 year retool, get
Mhm.
Tomlin, and they were right back in the playoffs in
Yep.
Tomlin's first year.
Yep.
So, I mean, it has not been what 25, 30 years since they've seen
Mhm.
what's about to happen. And I agree with you. It's going to have to be a teardown to the studs, because we got a bunch of players on 1 year deals right now. We have a
Yep.
bunch of players who are older on multi-year deals. It's not going to work. You got a bunch of bad draft selections. If you look up and down that offensive line of theirs, you're going to see first, second, third round draft picks at every single position, young players. None of them are panning out, man. That offensive line is still porous, still getting Rodgers hurt, as we saw last night. Um, so what are you gonna do? You gonna address it with free agents? I mean, there's only so much money to go around.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to tear this thing down to the
Yeah.
studs.
Yeah. And normally with free agents, especially the good ones, you're probably overpaying just to get them to leave from wherever they're at. So
Yeah,
um, that's not always that's good for sprinkling in stuff, but not to do a whole rebuild. You rebuild is from the draft, acquiring draft picks. Draft capital means, hey, I got something on my team like a Michael Parsons that I can get 2, 3 first round picks for and break those up into multiple picks. You need to be able to have enough draft picks where, hey, there's 7 rounds, but you drafted 10 people.
yeah,
That kind of draft is what you need.
yeah. And luckily they have that under their belt. They got like I think multiple second and third round picks, maybe
Okay.
even two firsts. We'll see. But it's coming at an ideal time because right now, I mean, and of course, I'm sitting here talking like the Steelers are like 3-8 or something. They're still 6-6 and in it. The problem is, though, from what I've seen over the past few weeks, man, It's just really hard for me to just think that they're all of a sudden just going to turn it on and we're going to see good offense and good defense. I just can't fathom that in my head right now, based on what I've seen for the past few weeks.
Well, I mean, when you look at it this way too, the only touchdown you scored was a defensive one.
Yeah, thank you. The offense has done absolutely nothing. It's horrible. It is horrible. We're scared to pass over the middle of the field. Everything is to the sidelines. Everything's a screen pass. I think right now our second, in terms of receptions anyway, our number 2 receiver is Gainwell, and that's terrible.
That's
With all
that,
these tight ends that you got on the roster, and you're going to base your whole offense around tight ends, you got a running back who doesn't even start, by the
he's not
way,
even your starting running back, right?
is the number 2 receiver. It's insane, man.
That's weird. That's almost criminal. How
Yeah.
is the person that doesn't even start your number 2 receiver, but you have other receivers out there on the field before he is?
It is just pointing to complete and utter dysfunction of your offense.
That's crazy.
It really is. It really is. You bring in all of these tight ends, Jonnu Smith, Fryermuth, Hayward,
Mm,
uh, the guy out of Georgia, I'm forgetting right now, but you got 4 of them that you put on a regular rotation that you have like multiple plays. And none of them are leading the team in anything.
yeah.
It's all Metcalf. It makes just no sense, man. It makes no sense. This whole thing, the whole scheme, the whole plan has failed this year. Arthur Smith has got to be up out of there. But like I said earlier, Tomlin is so loyal
Loyal.
to some of his staff, loyal
Well,
to a
he did
fault.
that with wasn't it McAdoo he had before?
Um,
Who was his coordinator before? What maybe with McAdoo? It was somebody like that, and he
yeah,
just would not let him go, and he finally did. But it looked like it was just okay, 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 kind of. Then, then him actually just accepting the fact and saying, "No, he's got to go. It is him."
right. Because we spent several years trying to get rid of that guy whose name I'm also forgetting. It's on the tip of my tongue, but hell, man, I would welcome him back with a red carpet compared to what we have right now, because it is terrible. Arthur Smith
Lombardi or something.
got to go. I'll look it up and let you know.
Yeah, yeah, because yes, it's messing with me. But yeah, so we'll see what the Steelers do. You're right; they're 6-6, and the crazy part is with the way that the AFC North is going, they could turn right back around and win the damn division. But that would be adding to the problem. It's like you don't want to root against your team, but when you know that really the best thing for them is probably to miss the playoffs so that changes can be forced. Because if you just simply make the playoffs, that may be enough for the Roonies to go, well, how am I going to fire a coach that went to the playoffs? Easily. Detroit, was it Detroit? Yeah, fired Caldwell, and all he kept doing was taking them to the playoffs, and they said that ain't enough.
Yeah,
And I thought that was crazy. I've seen Tony Dungy get fired for winning. Uh, it happens. I've seen Lovie Smith get fired for winning. Now
hell,
there is
Dallas did it last year to Mike McCarthy, man.
Mike McCarthy, yeah. So it can happen. Jason Garrett kept going 8-8. That got his ass up out of there. So coaches
Yeah,
can lose. I mean, can't get fired even when the team has what is considered a certain level of success, but it's just not enough because it doesn't get them over the hump.
yeah. Their former coordinator was Matt Canada, by the way, the one they hired.
Canada, that's it.
Over.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just a lot of people just want to keep Tomlin because they say, oh well, if we release Tomlin, he's going to be hired by the next team in 5 minutes. Well, good, let them take him. I don't
Yeah.
care.
And, and you know what? He might take that team to a conference championship game.
Yeah,
But here's the one thing that they should know: he was never going to do that again with you.
never going to do that again with you. And when a lot of people are, oh, who's going to find out there? Who's going to be out there? Who's going to be out there? Well, the thing with that is when Cowher left out, Nobody knew who Mike Tomlin was. That
Right.
man was not supposed to get that job. But they did their due diligence and they found him. So do your due diligence and find somebody else.
Do you think?
Find a Ben Johnson, but you
You,
got
do
to
you
be
think?
courageous enough to pull that plug in order to do it.
Do you think some Steelers fans just want to be able to hang their hat on the fact of how few coaches the organization has had over the last 40 years?
Some of them want to do that, yeah. And I'm gonna just call a spade a spade. A lot of brothers want to keep Tomlin simply because he's a freaking brother. I don't care. I want to win, man.
Right. Yeah, now that's crazy. Look, if the brother is winning,
That's a different story.
that's a different story. Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, that wasn't the reason that I wanted to keep Steve Wilkes in Carolina.
Nah.
Hey, that was a nice story, but it was because they were actually playing better under him, and they happened to
Get
fire,
the job done.
move on from the brother, and the brother was the one that was putting them in positions to win games. So,
Right.
but no, I would never sit there and say, "Hey, forget the winning. We need a brother." No, 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 no,
Nah, man.
no, no, no,
Nah.
no, no. We don't need that. I mean, I don't even want it to have to be an either or. If it can be a and comma, I'm just as happy with that. Hey, he's a brother and they're winning. There you
Yeah.
go. Works for me. All right. Well, we got into that. Now, if you give me a right personal privilege, I'm gonna tear into these damn Philadelphia Eagles that don't know how to fucking fly.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with them. All of a sudden
I
they
do.
just grounded.
Oh, I do. Same stuff as always. Same problem that Philly is having in Pittsburgh is having in a way is you got a head coach that is overly loyal to his offensive coordinator that has said, and I don't even know how both of these things can exist in the same space. But Nick Sirianni, when asked about moving on from his play caller, said it's not the play caller. I'm not moving on from the play caller, but everything is open to being reviewed. Well, you just closed out one thing that should be open to being reviewed. It's your play caller. Um, there's no way you can be up 21-0 against the cow bitches, and then all of a sudden you don't score again, and then they outscore you 24-0 to win the game.
That can never ever happen, man.
Yes. Is AJ Brown being involved in the offense more? Yeah, he is. It's statistically, it's the stats going up, and they're not winning. Yeah, he had eight catches, 110 yards. Devontae Smith, 6 carries, 89 yards. Now a lot of this damage was done in the first half. What is it that? How do you not, Rand, blame it on the offensive coordinator when you're able to do a lot of this stuff in the first half? You come out after halftime, and it's like the team that went in the tunnel at halftime never came back out. I mean, I don't know if it was my West Charlotte Lions who went to Huff and laid an egg this weekend. I mean, Friday came out instead. A team that my West Charlotte Lions that could have won that game to go to the state championships for the second year in a row forgot how to play football. Um, Much like my Philadelphia Eagles, that when they went into the tunnel, they never came back out. It's the play calling, it's the um, predictability, Rand. It's the lack of imagination. It's leaning on what we've done in the past to say, well, we're just going to keep winning that way when the league learns you quickly. Whatever you did last year, sometimes last week to win a game, they've already figured out how to negate that. You may have been a running team last year and that got you to the Super Bowl behind Saquon's 2,000 yards. If you are going to the Super Bowl this year, it ain't going to be because Saquon is running 150 yards a game. That is not going to be the reason. The only reason that you make it to the Super Bowl, which is why they won't, is Jalen Hurts is going to have to now. The thing that the Eagles were able to say before is, well, we don't need Jalen to sit there and be like Justin Herbert or be like this quarterback or that quarterback, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and you just name them, all that stuff. We just need him to be able to keep chains moving and do the things that he does because you were leaning so heavily on the run that teams have now taken that part away from you and they're daring you to come up with plays where your quarterback is going to have to be that force multiplier to get the ball into the hands of his skilled players. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown. Uh, he's got to be able to do that on a regular basis. It can't be first down run, second down run. Now it's third and long because somebody done jumped and now it's third and 15. And now you need Jalen Hurts to get you a nice chunk play. And either depending on either AJ Brown to come down with a 50-50 ball or get a DPI that gives you an automatic first down. You got to be able to say, okay, first down if we're going to run it. Fine, we got 2 yards. Hey, how can we make this second down turn either into a first down or to a third and manageable? These third and longs are killing them, absolutely killing them because the coordinator is still trying. And I get it. You don't want to get away from the run, but sometimes you're going to have to use the pass to set up the run instead of the other way around. And the coordinator has not figured that out. So I don't know how it can't be the coordinator. And I think at some point, I think Nick Sirianni fully believes that now that he has a Super Bowl, that he got a little bit more leash to be able to, throw around and say, well, we're going to do it this way and we're going to do it that way. And I honestly think they need to go to him and say, hey, it's either him or you. Which one is it?
Feeling himself.
Yeah, he's feeling himself. But they need to get to a point where they're saying, okay, it's him or you. Now, I will say they have 14 penalties for 96 yards. You ain't going to win like that because you're shooting yourself in the foot. When you having that many penalties, it only makes the impact of your play calling higher because you have to overcome yourself shooting yourself in the foot, pre-snap penalties, things like that, where now you're putting your team in dire straits to be able to get first downs instead of punting all the damn time. You punted 5 times in that damn game. You just punt. It was just crazy. So these Eagles, if they don't get their stuff together, it's going to remind me of a couple of years ago where they won a bunch of games at first and then they lost a whole lot in a row at the end and just totally crashed.
Yeah, I remember that. They flamed out and everybody was wondering what's going on in the locker room. And
now you got AJ Brown, who took a lot of hell for complaining and looking disgruntled and stuff like that because he was saying the obvious. It's funny how when you win, people will sit there and look past stuff that they shouldn't look past. But then when you start losing, now they act like, damn, where'd that come from? It's been there the whole time.
Yeah, he was saying it weeks ago. Yep, saying it weeks ago.
So all he was doing was he was saying, look, we're winning now, but like he said, we can't keep depending on us to keep finding ways to win at the end. We need to be more assertive. When you're up 21-0, you need to finish that game with 50 damn points. You don't take your foot off the gas. Hell, they didn't just take their foot off the gas, Rand. They got out the damn car and started walking. It made absolutely no sense. It was totally embarrassing. And yeah, I was embarrassed as a Philadelphia Eagle fan because I keep seeing it. And I was even more pissed at the news conference when Sirianni said what he said. Everything's going to be up for evaluation, but we ain't getting rid of the coordinator. Well, then everything ain't up for evaluation. Because if you evaluate everything, you're going to go, damn, that's some badass play calling. But I already said we ain't getting rid of him. Petula.
Yeah, when we talked about this game last week, I'm on record of saying ain't no way y'all going to lose to the Bears because I just firmly, solemnly believe there was no way you were going to blow that game.
That was last Sunday. Yep, so. Absolutely. And it was the same thing. It was just they don't come out, and the coordinator just don't have them ready to play. You can't tell me when you have the highest payroll on offense that you scored 21 points and then you ain't scored none after that. You got the highest paid offense, bro. You got
Plain
all
and
the
simple.
weapons, and that's all you can do. But you gonna tell me with a straight ass face that it ain't the coordinator. Well, if it ain't the coordinator, then it could only be you. Now, in the spirit of self-preservation, my coordinator gonna have to fall on that on that sword, or the
Facts.
both of your
Facts.
asses can go.
Facts. Same thing in Pittsburgh, man. It's
Yeah,
the same thing.
take your ass on. This loyalty stuff, man. Look, it's crazy because players can get cut left and right, but man, these coaches act like, man, once you get into a position, I mean, you just guaranteed to keep that position. You supposed to sing for your dinner every damn game, bro.
Yep.
I mean, how comfortable can you be? Petula, you wasn't even the coordinator when they won the damn Super Bowl. How you that comfortable?
It's amazing, man.
I mean,
It really is.
you were there, but you wasn't in that position. And so I don't know. I don't understand it. That it was just absolute random. It was just embarrassing to watch them. But again, I could see it coming, just like AJ Brown did, because it was like, okay, this is obvious. Yes, they're finding a way to win, but that's going to catch up with you eventually. And then people are going to be like, oh my God, the sky is falling. No, the sky been falling.
Yeah.
You just didn't. You just finally took your shades off. That's all. Sky been falling. So I don't have a whole lot of hope in him because the problem is that if he does not recognize that that's the problem, what's going to make him change? So I'm hopeful that he'll get it, but I'm not that optimistic at all.
Just really hate some of these head coaches and GMs and owners that are just absolutely so stubborn that they think that their way is just gonna do it, and they would rather fall on their own sword than just say I was wrong.
Oh
It,
yeah,
they
yeah.
it just boggles my mind, man. That how some of them just will not admit, hey, I was wrong, and I'm gonna go in a different direction. Can't do it. Can't do it.
You know that's why I give the San Francisco 49ers a whole lot of credit. You know, they sat there a couple years ago and gave up a whole lot of first round picks for Trey Lance. They just knew that they got too cute in trying to go after a guy they had not put on enough film to warrant them doing what they were doing. And it would have been understandable for that team to still have Trey Lance as their quarterback right now, because of what they gave. And had they been a lot of organizations out there, hell, they probably would have. He'd probably still be their quarterback, instead of them admitting that it was wrong, because they'd be like, man, we gave up all this capital. How we then gonna turn right back around? Well, you know what? They had Brock Purdy. They looked at what Brock was doing in practice. They looked at what Trey Lance was doing in practice, and they said, "This, hey, we gonna start Mr. Irrelevant," and that got him and Jimmy Garoppolo up out of there. Um, and that was, to me, at the time, unthinkable, just because of them saying, "Nope, didn't work out. We know what we gave up, but we cannot continue in this direction." But you don't see that happen often, you know. And they had to be right, and they've been proven right. Trey Lance is like on his fourth team. I think I saw him come out for the Chargers yesterday when Herbert got hurt. So, and I know he went to Dallas. They traded him to Dallas. I think he went somewhere else, and now he's in L.A. So he's bounced around since. So it kind of justified them being able to do what they did, but that's still a tough pill for a lot of them to swallow, Rand, because they want to believe that they're the smartest people in the room at all times and don't want to ever have to come back and say, "Nah, we missed on that one."
Yeah, it's going to be the same situation with Bryce Young. I could already see that. They're going to continue to roll Bryce out there. Especially I see he has good games like he played against the Rams. And I'm not even saying that it was like a good game. He played well enough to win. But to
I
me,
will, Rand, I will say this though about what Bryce did yesterday. And look, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat how I feel about short quarterback. I still feel the same way about short quarterback. I don't care how good he plays, because here's the thing: what I end up saying about Bryce Young is what I would say about an aging quarterback. Man, he had a really, really good game at that moment. But then he follows it up with a subpar game or an okay game or a mediocre game. And then he has a great game. Then he has a bad game. I mean, Russell Wilson did that, didn't he? With the Giants. He had that 450-yard game. You never saw that Russ again. He played, but did you see that again? Hell no. Did you see Russ dropping dimes like in that game? Nope. Did he play more than just that game? Sure did. But Russ has an excuse. He's 37 years old or something like that. Bryce Young is not. He's in his mid-20s. He's only been in the league for 3 years. I should not be giving the same platitudes to Bryce Young that I would give to Drew Brees in his last year, Phillip Rivers in his last year, Kirk Cousins at the end of his career. I shouldn't be putting Bryce Young in that same level when you made him the number 1 pick 3 years ago. It shouldn't happen. So is he going to have some good games? Yeah. Hell, Davis Mills had some good games.
right.
The hell that mean? So
Well,
that
to me,
kid,
it's not even about like having any good games or
no.
because he yesterday he was efficient. He was 15 out of 20, passed just over 200 yards.
Yep.
And people are raving about that, and I'm like, why are
Really.
you raving about average? Um,
Yes.
and
The
I
bar
don't
is
want to
low.
be the one to like just bash Bryce because he played good enough to win yesterday, and in the clutch he made some very good throws. The throw to win the game was very good.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot take that into the playoffs.
Yeah.
200 yards a game passing, you're not going to survive in the playoffs, and you're not even going to survive seasons to get into the playoffs with that kind of efficiency. Um,
I agree.
so the thing about what we were talking about not wanting to admit your error, I just feel like the Panthers are not going to do that either. They're going to hang on to Bryce.
You're gonna have to give
Um,
him an extension.
they're going to give him an extension, and I think that's a mistake. And they're not going to bring anybody in here to compete with them, and I think that's another mistake.
Same.
So they could get some fool's gold this year, but we've all seen, in my eyes anyway, Bryce has not improved from year to year like you would want a quarterback to do. He seems to be the same guy that came into the league. He's a little better, but part of being better is consistency, and he hasn't
Yep.
showed any consistency at all. So I just feel year 4, we're going to make the mistake of giving this guy an extension, and then you're going to be handicapped for several more seasons to come with no improved play.
And well, yes, and it depends on how big of an extension that they looking to do, because yes, he'll be in. He has a 5th-year option. I think they're going to pick up the 5th. I wonder if they'll just say, you know what, instead of giving him an extension over the summer, we're just going to pick up the 5th year, play into year 4, and either at the in the middle of year 4 or at the end of year 4 they do the extension then. And I would push them to do that. Normally, a quarterback's well, the reason that a lot of teams have been doing the extensions after year 3 is because then if they go into year 4 and they just absolutely ball out, then they may command even a higher salary, and you could have got them a little bit more on the cheap after year 3. If you
Yeah,
wait till
and
year 4, you're taking that gamble.
year 3, most of the time, the
You
Panthers
already
still
know.
don't know after 3.
Right, right. And that's why you go ahead and do it after year 3, because it's like, okay, if he's doing that now, damn,
Yeah,
and you can go ahead and feel comfortable giving them the money. there's no way in the world they could feel that comfortable giving him an extension after year 3. I'm hoping that they just say, you know what, Bryce, we're gonna pick up that the 5th year option. I know that's not ideal, but we really, really need to see how year 4 is gonna play out, or at least get us the first 8 games into the season before we sit there and start working on an extension and all that kind of stuff. We know that we may end up having to pay more if you ball out, but we're going to need to see him ball out. And this is all stuff that they would say to the agent. They wouldn't say it directly to Bryce. But the agent would have to relay to them, hey, they need to see more. They need to be able to see more. Hey, when you did it last year, you did it at the end of the season when the games didn't matter anymore. Now you're in the middle of a season where these games are going to matter and they need to see. I'm gonna find out what Bryce Young is made of over the next 5 weeks, because he's had too many lulls in performance. And I'll be honest with you, I was having some issues yesterday too, not so much with Bryce, but with the play calling. I get you want to run, but my God, and I understand that the weather was bad. It was starting to rain. Those leather balls soak up the water. They get heavier and stuff like that. But run on first, run on second, and then I saw what they were doing. They were also running on third because they knew if they didn't get all of the yardage, they were gonna just go for it on 4th down anyway. Um, but and to Bryce's credit, he bailed them out on 4th down. They were 3 of 3 on 4th down. But my problem is one of those was to Ted McMillan. It was his only catch of the game. One catch, 43 yards, but it was a touchdown. How is your weapon like that only getting one damn catch in the whole game? That's crazy. Jalen Coker only caught the ball 4 times. He was your leading receiver with 4 catches. You had 200 yards, but you had literally Jalen Coker 4 catches, Ted McMillan 1, Chuba 2, Rico 2, Evans 3, and that was it.
It's not going to take you far, man. It's just not.
That's great. And you know, yeah, he hit 15 out of 20. 15? Come back at me when hit me when he completing 30 passes. 15 ain't gonna do it. That's not gonna do it. That's telling me that, and yes, his quarterback rating was a 147. So I think people are raging Ram because they see glimpses of stuff. But I'm sorry, if you give me a resume and I have to sit there and squint to find a glimpse of something decent on your resume, that ain't a good ass resume. I need to be able to see, bang, man, you went from this job, then you went to that job, and then that job, and that job. And it's like, damn, that's a hell of a resume.
Consecutively.
Yes. I need to see it all over the paper. I don't need to be sitting there trying to look all through it just to, that looked like that could have been a good one.
Yeah, you were outstanding 2 years ago, and then you fell off, and then you looked real good last year, and then you fell off again. And here goes two good games in a row.
You were the CEO of Microsoft, and then you were a janitor.
Yeah.
You became this. Oh, now you work at Chick-fil-A. Yeah. You know, you can't have that on over because what people gonna say? What happened?
Yeah, what happened? What happened with that?
So, and I, that's what I need to see out of Bryce. I need to see the consistency too. I need to see where the offensive coordinators are putting the ball in his hands to be able to make better decisions on 1st and 2nd down, so that you don't get into these 3 and longs and have to keep going for it on 4th down. Had they not converted their 4th downs, they would have lost the game. Regardless of the fact that Stafford threw the ball away twice, regardless of some miscues and things like that, the ball bounced their way. They came out with the win. My man Brad, I know, I had to reach out to him, make sure he was all right. But I told him, I said, look, I'm glad for my Panthers. Hell, Rand, I even won $434 yesterday on betting on the Panthers. So, hey, it was a good day for me in a way. But like I told Brad, hey, it doesn't do anything to take away what I feel about the Rams. I told him at the cookout this past year in New York, hey, I got your Rams against my Eagles. I think before we even did the first show, and I told you that I got the Rams and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Now, I feel like I'm only going to be half right. I think the Rams will be in the NFC Championship game. but it'll probably be against the 49ers.
Yeah, I definitely got the Rams in the NFC Championship. I've had them this whole time.
Mhm.
And even though they lost to Carolina yesterday, I think just a blip in the radar. They'll be back. They will
Yeah,
definitely.
and like I told him, hey, lose now and learn from it, because if you do that in January, you go home. So
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with losing early and your team, because the NFL and the playoffs ran, this, it's always about getting hot at the right minute. And sometimes you get hot at the right minute after learning from a loss or a humbling loss to say, you know what? Because I heard McVay, and I take him for his word that they didn't overlook the Panthers. I think the Panthers just sat there and things kind of went right for them.
yeah, things went their way. You got a pick six that helped you out. Had you not gotten that pick six, then you still would have been losing that game. Have you failed on just one of those fourth down conversions, you probably lose that game. So,
Yeah,
things just roll right for them. Even that last fourth down and two situation where it was a touchdown.
bro.
Um, yeah, uh, they fell on that, they probably lose the game. So
Yeah.
just had one of them games where everything went right for them. And I hope I don't sound like I'm taking it away from them because they did play well enough to win. Um, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, they put up
just my
31
thing. You
points.
can't do that on a regular basis in the NFL and expect to walk away with victories.
I mean, this is a team though that they put up 31 points in this game, so I'm looking for 7 in the next game. That's the
Mhm.
inconsistency of scoring. But I will end on this: the catch by Puka Nakua had to be one of the sickest catches I have ever seen. He was running on that go route down the side, had his man on his side. The ball was starting to sail over his head. He reaches up, ran with his offhand, yanks the ball with one hand while he's still running full stride. As it's going past his head, he yanks it back with one hand, falls to the ground, and secures the ball with same said hand, never bringing the other hand to help secure the ball.
Yeah, he looked like he literally had a mitt on and caught a baseball.
In the rain.
Yeah, yeah. Puka's a sick boy, man. No doubt
Man,
about it. Because the coverage on that particular play was outstanding. That DB
perfect,
was right in his hip
perfect
pocket, right
coverage.
where he should have been. Um,
Absolutely.
that pass, not the pass, but that catch was just spectacular.
That's sick. That's sick. I looked at that. I kept going back. I said, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's just insane."
It
That's
blew the announcer's mind when he made the call. I thought, he was just
I'm
gonna.
like, okay. At some point, when as he's going to the ground, because is it a catch? Is it not a catch? Did it move? Did it start to move as he hit the ground? All that kind of stuff goes into it. Nope.
Nah,
One hand,
catch.
bring it in. I'm like, the focus that it would take to do that. That's just insane. That's just insane. I'm just like, okay. He made Odell Beckham's catch almost just look elementary. And at the time when Odell did that catch, that's all he was known for. Um, but my God, no, that was just insane. So a lot of respect for Puka and the Rams on that. All right, Ram, we're gonna get out here in just a second, but let's look at what we got coming up this week as far as games. Um, what we got? Week 14. I think the Panthers finally get a bye. This
Yep,
far,
they finally get a ball.
that's crazy. This far into the season, they finally get a bye. So you got the Giants and Patriots getting started right now, but then you got a huge game on Thursday night football.
My game of the week, yes.
Good God Almighty! The Cow Bitches go to Detroit to face the Lions, and there's gonna be some crushed kneecaps happening in this game. I do believe. The Cowboys have rediscovered their defense. The Cowboys have rediscovered their offense. CeeDee Lamb figured out how to catch balls and not drop them. George Pickens has just been that dude, which I knew he needed to be, Ram, because he was coming into a contract year. If he needed to either play to show Jerry that he was going to have to come off some money, or he needed to play well enough to be able to show Dan Morgan and Dave Canales that he can come on over to Carolina anytime, or whoever, any of the other 31 teams out there.
Pittsburgh.
But yeah, oh God, come back. Hey, George, we've seen a lot of growth in you. Come on back. We got DK on the other side, and let's just do this. We got rid of Tomlin. We know he was the problem. It wasn't you. We want you to come back. You know, we got Shedeur Sanders over here from Cleveland. We want you to come and turn this thing around.
Oh, that would be great.
I don't because I don't see Jerry giving him any money. I think he took this as a 1-year loan to say, well, if he doesn't play well, we got him for 1 year. We cut him. If he does play well, we'll move on and we'll plug and play and keep doing that. Ain't no way in the world he gonna pay CD Lamb $34 million and then have to turn around and pay George Pickens 31 to 33 million. It ain't gonna happen. And give him, and it won't even be the salary. It's gonna be the guaranteed part of it. Like, are you prepared to give him, $175, $180 guaranteed? I don't see it. But anyway, they got to play the Lions. The Lions have been falling flat of late. The Lions have a lot more to play for right now because they are on the outside looking in, as well as the Cowboys. The only way that, like I said, the Cowboys are really going to challenge Philadelphia for the division. Either Philadelphia just has to lose every game and the Cowboys win at least 3, or the Eagles have to win at least 3, knowing that the Cowboys can't win all 5 of their remaining games to tie. That's really what it comes down to. So yes, the Cowboys do have a reason to play for sure. But the Lions are really trying to do something with that NFC North, which that probably ain't gonna happen at this point. It look like Chicago might take that.
Yeah, Detroit got a big problem with no Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
If that dude's gonna miss the game Thursday night, then it might just go in favor of the Cowboys because he makes that big a difference to that offense.
He does, because Jameson Williams is inconsistent at best. When he catches that ball, though, he's electrifying. But it's when he catches that ball. Jahmyr Gibbs can't be everything all the time. He is a dynamic guy, but trying to pass it to him all the time, run it to him all the time, splash in Montgomery is not enough. I didn't realize how much they needed Sam Laporta. I think that's been the biggest thing for the Lions, is not having their tight end over the last several weeks is when they really started looking different in their offense.
That is true.
Laporta is a beast. He is a hard guy to cover. He blocks well on the edge, and then he finds free space and a lot of times turns up field and gets them huge chunk plays and things like that. Their offense has just not been the same without Sam Laporta. So as much as it would pain me, you are right. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a go for this game, it's going to lean Cowboys, even though they are playing in Detroit. And I just got to believe that they're going to dig in deep and beat these cow bitches. I just want them to. I want them to.
I want them to really bad.
You got the Titans playing the Browns. Not that that's a big thing going on Sunday, but we'll see if Shedeur Sanders is going to get another go at starting, and see how that goes. It'd be Shedeur against Cam Ward. That would be interesting to see. But right now, no matter who it is, I still have the tip to the Browns on that one, Rand.
Same.
You got the Seahawks going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. I'll have to say I watched the Falcons game, and they were struggling against the Titans, but I can't blame Kirk Cousins. These guys were just dropping passes, missing catches, all kinds of stuff. It wasn't really Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins has seemingly found out where Kyle Pitts is on the field, where other quarterbacks have not been able to find him, including Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, as well as Michael Penix Jr., not really being able to get Kyle Pitts the ball. But Cousins definitely knows where Kyle Pitts is on the field. But I got to believe that with Seattle and all their weapons, Smith and Jigma, Charbonnet, Walker, that they're just going to be too much for the Falcons, and they're going to probably pull out that win, even though it's in Atlanta.
Yeah, but I got Seahawks for that one too.
Now here's a big one. We got the Colts and the Jags at a
That
1 o'clock game too. That's going to be a huge game for a whole lot of reasons. Sunshine has been playing pretty well. They've been fighting it out. Daniel Jones is starting to come back to earth as far as the way he started the season. As to, hey, and I think a lot of it is expectations. Kind of same thing that started happening to Sam Darnold towards the end. Hey, them lights start getting brighter, the weights start getting heavier, and everybody's looking at you as the man. They've been calling you Indiana Jones and all this stuff. And teams have been stopping Jonathan Taylor from getting 100 yards rushing, all those types of things. So while you're still a good team, uh, teams are not looking at you as dominant as you were in the first couple of weeks of the season. Congratulations, you stacked up a lot of wins to at least get you in a position to be in playoff running. But now you're gonna have to close it out, and the Jags are gonna be a hell of a test for them.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lean Colts on this one just simply because I don't have any faith in Sunshine in big games either. So, but we'll see. That one's pretty easy.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I'm going Jags barely, only because they're at home.
Yeah.
I'm only going with them there. If it was a neutral site, I'd go Colts all day. But that defense of the Jags has really been stepping up too. And Sunshine has been doing something more this year than he's done in any of his other years. He's learned when to run. He's not just taking sacks. He's actually, because it was either I'll take a sack, I'll throw in the triple coverage and hope my man gets it. Now he's like, oh no, it's triple coverage. Let me just go run and get 5-6 yards at a time, and that's I think that has been helping him. You got the Bengals and the Bills. Hey, Joe Burrow was back. He looked pretty sharp against the Ravens. I know you love that part.
I did.
He did his thing against the Ravens. I ain't gonna lie. Joe Burrow came out, shook off that rust, and said, "Hold my beer," and just started throwing. I was like, "Damn!" Because people were questioning why bring him back now, and stuff like that. And I think the Bengals just want to be able to, see what they got with the team and everything else. And hey, it may not translate into postseason success. It won't translate into that, but at least we can build on this and see what we got. So, but it is in Buffalo. The Bills, it's probably going to be snowy as hell. And I think the Bills are just going to be able to pound that game out. Even if Burrow and Josh Allen have a good game, I think it's still going to come down to the Bills just punishing them on the ground. I think Cook is just going to have a heavy dose of run all over the Bengals and really test that. Yeah. You got the Saints and the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, I think, is going to be more than prepared for what the Saints have with Shook and those guys. But I definitely want the Saints to win. I need that for the Panthers. And I'm going to call it now. Saints upset the Bucs.
Whoa, you way out on a limb with that one. I got the Bucs.
I know, but I'm putting it on FanDuel too because I know the odds are going to be crazy. But anyway, I'm definitely put a quarter on that one. Commanders at the Vikings. It's in Minnesota. The Commanders had a hell of a game back and forth against the Broncos. I don't know what got into them. They did that with Marcus Mariota. They did that with some really, really good play from their defense at times to really put Denver in some 3 and outs, some long field position and things like that. The Vikings have not been world beaters. Their rookie looked like a rookie. I think he threw at one point. He was up to 3 interceptions. Hell, he may have threw another one. He may have just thrown another one right now. Did not look good at all. I know Justin Jefferson has to be just shaking his head like, what are y'all doing to me? But I'm gonna give it to the Commanders.
Same. Vikings literally have no quarterback. Just none.
Yeah, and if you don't have no quarterback, I don't care about your skill positions. You can't keep handing it off to Jordan Addison and them boys all the time. I mean, you're gonna have to push the ball down the field at some point, and I hadn't seen any evidence of that. You got the Dolphins at the Jets. The Jets had a nice win yesterday. Um, the Dolphins, man, they up and down too. This game is going to be in New York. I'm just going to go ahead and give it to the home team. Jets win.
Same. Got the Jets on this one. I don't
You
think
got
Miami's tough enough. I really don't.
me either. And as it get colder and colder, and it's in New York, mm-mm, I don't think so. um, MetLife Stadium is not that kind of place. It's not indoors, so it's gonna be hard.
Hey,
Um,
B, I got to run, man. Somebody's outside at my door.
okay,
But
all
I'll
right.
get back with you guys next week.
Oh, give me a quick call. Steelers Ravens in
Ravens,
Baltimore.
Ravens, Ravens. There's nothing that can convince me from what I've seen over the past 3 weeks that the Steelers could go into Baltimore and win this game. The only
Lamar,
way that
Lamar,
we
Lamar
can,
would have to Lamar would have to implode, and Henry would have to fumble at least once.
exactly, or if it's snowing,
Yeah,
snowing's going to even the playing field. So
agreed.
we'll see.
Agreed. All right, man. Well, we'll see you next week.
All right, brother.
All right. All right, y'all. I'm gonna round it out. We got the Broncos and the Raiders. It is in Las Vegas, but the Broncos, the way they've been playing, should have a really, really good time feasting on the Raiders. Geno Smith has been sacked so many times over the last several games. Keeping him upright would be the key to success. Ashton Genty has been a beast. Brock Bowers has been a beast. Those have been some bright spots on that team, but they just don't have enough for me to be able to say they could have a chance to win this game. The Rams, feeling a little bad taste in their mouth after the way they played against the Panthers, go to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Cardinals are catching the Rams at the wrong time. The Rams should uh, really put a hurting on the Cardinals. Texans at the Chiefs is going to be a Sunday night football game. This is not going to be easy to say, but as constructed right now, the Texans have a really good chance of going in and beating Kansas City. Kansas City is all but done when it comes to playoffs. And if Andy Reid starts to see that, maybe he'll start playing a lot more of his younger players, signaling the beginning of the end of the dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bears go to play the Packers in Green Bay. This is going to be a huge game for control of the NFC North. Um, the Bears right now have the overall number one seed, but now they get into divisional play. Teams know each other; they play each other twice a year. Um, I'm going to give it to the Packers because they're in Green Bay. Um, but it's going to be a pretty. Either it's going to be a very high scoring game because the offenses are going to let loose, or it's going to be a low scoring game because the defenses are going to be great. I think Michael Parsons is going to be in the backfield a lot of times, looking down at Caleb Williams as he puts him on the ground. Then, lastly, Monday Night Football next week is going to be Eagles Chargers. As much as and they're going to be in LA, I gotta believe that the Eagles are going to show up. If they don't, this could also be the beginning of the end. Well, y'all look, that was a whole lot for another week. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to all the channels and the feeds. Make sure that you share it. Let everybody else know what you've been watching and everything. But I'm gonna get out of here. I will see y'all again next week. Remember, if you are betting, bet with your mind, not with your heart. And remember, bet responsibly. Y'all be safe out there. See y'all again same time next week. Peace out.